What's up, Bridal Babes? I hope you're ready for another exciting episode of your favorite local wedding show, Bridal Buzz. I'm your host, Kat, and today we're in the studio with Alana. We're going to learn a little bit about her wedding and her love story with Jonathan leading up. So let's get started. Now, before we really get into the conversation, I just want to give you guys a couple of reminders. So it is officially February. Woohoo! We have an open house at the Veranda coming up on the 6th, and then another wedding fair show, Hill Country Edition. That one's going to be in Bernie on February 27th. A quick shout out to today's sponsor, 18th Amendment Mobile Bar Service. You're going to hear more about them later on, but let's get into the conversation with Alana. Thanks so much for being here today.
Hey girl, thanks for having me.
Hey, of course.
This is exciting. This is the neatest thing.
Oh, well, we're happy to have you. We're lucky to have you.
Why
don't you tell our bridal babes a little bit about you?
Oh my gosh, I was born in 1988. I'm kidding, I won't tell you that. Yeah, so in a condensed version, my name's Alana, and I hail from Dallas, born and raised in Dallas.
Hail. I love that.
I went to school at Texas State.
Okay.
To get what I call a talking to many people degree.
Okay.
Used that degree and started working here in television and hosted some shows, WOAI for any locals in San Antonio, and KBB, some lifestyle morning shows there, and just kind of got my feel into television, and then got an opportunity to go back to Dallas and work on the station that I grew up watching.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
Very full circle for me. And I did that for about 5 years, and this pandemic just kind of set in and made me realize, oh, well, hold on, Alana, your priorities way off. So I stepped away from my career for about 9 months and got married. Oh, right, that happened.
Yeah.
I got married.
What?
Yeah, marriage. And so that's a little bit about me career-wise, but all behind the scenes stuff. Things that I really enjoy doing is playing piano. My mother put me in when I was about 4 years old and never let me quit. And so
What style of piano?
Oh, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a musician, so I'm like, what kind of stuff do you like to play?
Okay.
Yeah, let me know.
To be super frank, my favorite kind of music is elevator music. Like just the mindless, like, just sit there and just play, and it feels nice, and it puts my husband to sleep, which is still weird to say, you know. But I was classically trained, and so it's not my favorite though. Like I love some good Bach, you know, and some Beethoven. That's all wonderful, but it's just not as nice as just sitting down to some like Yiruma.
Yeah, some smooth jazz.
Yeah, I'm okay with some smooth jazz. So no shame in smooth jazz game for sure.
That's honestly what I listen to while I'm working. So
thank you for asking. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So
but Jonathan and I met whenever I was working here in San Antonio, and at a missions game, a San Antonio missions game. It's our minor league baseball team, and he had just joined the police department, and I was a few years into working with San Antonio Living, the morning show, and we were sponsoring the baseball team, or we were like the media sponsor. So I remember somebody came up to me at work and said, "Hey, Alana, it's the last game of the season. You're the only person that hasn't thrown out the first pitch." And I was like, for a reason. Notice I haven't mentioned any sports. Leading up to this cheer dance. Oh, I was a San Antonio Spurs dancer.
Okay.
So that was a good time. The baseball team, he was like, "You gotta throw the first pitch," and I was like, "Okay, fine." So it was dollar beer night, dollar hot dog night at the San Antonio Missions. I went and threw the ball, and as I was trying to find our seats, it was crowded because everybody wants their dollar beer because somehow it tastes better, right? We were sitting in some just open seats. Everybody was sitting in not their seat. They were sitting. It's a local, baseball. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
It ended up being serious. This woman sitting behind us was giving us a really hard time. Like, you guys can't sit here. She had her feet up on our seat, and she wouldn't move. And my dad
that's
being
not proper etiquette, miss.
Yeah, lady, stop being rude and enjoy the game and have a beer. My dad went and got the local, the closest person who was of authority in a uniform, and it was Jonathan.
Said, "Ma'am, you're under arrest for being a bad time."
You're being yeah, no, do it. And Dad's like, "Fix this." And so he was like, "Ma'am, you gotta take your seat. You take your feet down." Well, this isn't their seats. Well, feet aren't allowed on this. Anyways, it just really put a damper on our night. We walked out, but before we did, I went to that police officer to say, "Hey, thanks for helping us out." And Kat, he was so handsome. I read his little tag right here, and it was like, "Reyes," and I was like, "Oh, Officer Reyes." Yeah, I don't know why. I was young and just like overconfident.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
how long ago was this?
We've been dating 8-9 years now. I guess 2012 or 13.
Wow.
But I'm gonna wrap it up because this is a good story. It is, and I hardly get to kind of tell it in its entirety.
We want all the juice.
And I'm still gonna shorten it because it's so long. But we're getting to the end, getting to the good part. I told my mom, I was like, "Mom, let's just get out of here. It's it's not fun anymore. It's a Thursday night anyway. It's a school night. We all have to get up early." We're on our way out, and we leave the gates. We're about to enter the parking lot, and I turn to my mom. I'm very close with my mother. It's just me and her as far as the girls in the family. I said, "Mom, Officer Reyes is really hot." Like, just like that, right? I'm never going to see this man again in my life. And from the corner of my ear cat, I hear, like, way back here, "I heard that." And I was like,
Oh,
I'm mortified.
God.
I was mortified.
Drama.
Oh my gosh, even telling you right now, I'm like so embarrassed. And I turn around, and it looks like, and of course, if Jonathan is a little under the weather right now, he'd be here with me, and he would tell his side of the story, because he's like, "That's not how it happened." I'm like, "Bet, it's totally how it happened." Gosh. I turn around, and it looks like he's crawling out of a bush, right? Just from like my angle. I know he's not.
He's like secretly following you.
He
out.
was.
No.
He was following us out. And today I'm like, "Why were you being so creepy?" He was like, "No, Alana, a good officer." He says, "I saw you guys leave, and then I saw that woman who just took her feet down from the seat, started following you guys. So I wanted to go make sure that nothing." I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes total sense,
sure,
officer."
Jonathan.
Right. So I went to my mom after he's like, "I heard that," and I was like, "Mom, what do I do? This is so embarrassing." And I was like, I just ran into the car really quick, and Dad was like, "This really stinks for you."
Like, worst case scenario.
I know, like, "Thanks, Dad." So I get out, again, overconfident, and I'm like, "Hey, can we just take a picture?" I just to kind of like remember this moment. It's really embarrassing for me. And so I still have that photo we took. The first night we met, it's on our refrigerator. It was framed at our wedding. And somebody took our photo, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just tweet it to you." "I don't have Twitter." I'm like, "Oh, I'll just Facebook you." "I don't have Facebook." And I was like, "You can put your number in my phone."
Wow.
So that's where it started.
Oh my god.
That was it. He would have a different side of the story. So maybe one day he'll be able to tell
maybe
it.
we can get that in the blog so people can go and read it a little bit. But oh my gosh, so did Jonathan grow up here in San Antonio?
He's from Livonia.
Okay.
He's from Livonia, which is a little south, I guess east. Yeah, southeast of San Antonio, precious little town. But he always wanted to make his way to San Antonio, the big city.
And how long were you guys dated before he asked the big question?
Oh, that's a whole story too, lady. We were together for about 3 years before I moved to Dallas, and bless his heart, I put him through about 5 years of long distance.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's not easy.
Nope.
Oh
No,
my
gosh, it wasn't. I think it really, I know it brought us closer together, stronger.
Yeah.
And, you think you really know a person, but man, we really got on one level when you thought you were before, but now it's just like, okay, no, we're doing it.
That's crazy
it's
how
clicked.
Distance can actually bring you closer.
Yeah, but that's the decision you have to make.
Yeah.
That you have to, and there's a lot of sacrifices. So, but yeah, so he's from Livonia, and yeah, so this little, I call him as small town podunk kid, the city girl over here.
And when did he decide to propose? Do you know?
Oh man, that's good too. He proposed. Do you all remember Snowmageddon?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, who would forget
That's
this?
called trauma.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and depending if you're in Texas, we call it Snowmageddon. If you're in Colorado, Oklahoma, it's just another snow day. Texans don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
But we got hit. It was tragically hard. But that was over Valentine's Day. So apparently, I was like, "You cheeseball, you're going to do it on Valentine's." He was like, "Alana, you were about to leave Dallas." I'd given my notice at my station in Dallas. So like, "Hey, you know what? It's time for me to leave. I need to go home. I need to be close to family and just kind of step away from the career, just take a break." And so my last day in Dallas was, I think, like February 28th. I can't remember exactly, but the end of the month. So he was like, "I wanted to do it before you left Dallas." Didn't do it because of snow again. Yeah. Rightfully so. So the week, like 3 or 4 days before I left, I think it was maybe 2 days before it was my last day on air in Dallas. We went up to, and if anybody's familiar with North Texas, the Reunion Tower, the big ball in the middle of downtown Skyline. And he made everything really special. He contacted a lot of my friends before he even drove up. It was his first time Reunion Tower.
Wow.
Here's the last cherry. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The Reunion Tower is very meaningful to me. Obviously, growing up in Dallas, it's a part of the skyline. It's just kind of a part of the culture. But my dad used to bring me to Reunion Tower during Bring Your Daughter to Work Day. He's an attorney, and the courthouse was downtown.
Okay.
But then he'd take me to lunch up there. And so my mother was like, I was like, "Oh, Mom, you're right." She said, now Reunion Tower is very meaningful to you for the two men that you love most in your life.
Yeah, I just got chills. Oh my gosh, Mom, putting two and two together.
So sweet, Mother.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's a really special place for us.
Wow. And how long were you guys engaged before you got married?
9 months.
Wow.
I'm not pregnant. No, I just decided. I was like,
you just popped out a wedding.
Yeah, well, kind of. I spent that time away from my career, and I turned into self-made wedding planner.
Wow.
So and that was a journey in itself. I remember about a month before he popped the question, my mother was very close to my mom, as you can tell. She was like, hey, I was driving through the hill country. You know, she lived in near Canyon Lake, near Spring Branch out in the hill country. Yeah. I was driving through, we were exploring one weekend, and we came across the top of what looked like a castle out near Burnett, Texas. And I was like, Burnett? By the way, that's how they say it. Not Burnett. It's Burnett.
Like darn it?
That's what they say. Burnett, darn it. Exactly, yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, I learned that quickly. Yeah, made that mistake only one time. And she's like, maybe it'd be kind of cool if you had a wedding there. And I was like, yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, let's investigate to see what it is. You know, go to the Google, and I call up, you know, who I think is in charge of this castle. And I know these people from working in Dallas. Yeah, they're like, oh,
from Dallas? Not even from here.
Well, it's more of like the management company.
Oh, okay.
Right. The man who's managing the castle, and we ended up kind of knowing each other a little bit. Right, the castle. So the castle is called Falkenstein Castle, and this was actually a castle that this family lived in from Austin, and I think they lived in for maybe, and this is probably rough. I don't know how accurate this is. It's very rough, but it's about, maybe they lived in it for about 10 years.
Okay.
And then just recently decided to open it up as a venue. Wow. So they've held conferences there. I think they want to do like team building there, but it's also on Airbnb.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fun.
It is on Airbnb. So my mom manifested that too.
Oh my god.
So that's where it all went down.
Mom is coming in clutch, time after time.
Yeah, well, she was like, my mom did my wedding. I was like, Mom, you are not doing my wedding, but I'm all ears to hear what you have to say. So.
Well, I want to hear a little bit more, but before we get into it, let me just give a shout out to today's sponsor, 18th Amendment Mobile Bar Service. If you're having a backyard party, a huge fiesta downtown, anything that you're planning, 18th Amendment Mobile Bar Service can help you provide the drinks and the service for that event. So amazing drinks, incredible service. Check out 18th Amendment Mobile Bar Service today on SanAntonioWeddings.com. And let's get back to Alana's story. So what was the first thing that came after booking this venue?
Oh, that came actually. That happened before I got engaged.
Okay, that's fine. That's not the first time I've heard that. So
really?
don't be like...
Well, they were like, we're about to release on The Knot and The Wire.
Okay,
I think
Wedding
what it's
Wire,
called.
yeah.
And so they said, Alana, we're gonna book up fast. So if you can go ahead and give us a date now. And I was like, I'm not even engaged. What do you mean?
Yeah.
So okay. So I felt a lot of pressure. I don't know. I'm going through dates. I'm going through weather. I mean, all the things you just overthink. That
right.
On the day of, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter at all.
So did you talk to Jonathan like, hey, I'm looking at this venue. I'm, la, don't tell me if you're proposing, but are you proposing? Like, did you know it was coming?
I did know.
Okay.
I did know, which is a little, I always kind of wanted to be a little more surprised, but at this point, 8 years in, come on, buddy.
I feel you. I just got engaged over Christmas break and.
What?
Yes. So I was like, I told him if it didn't happen by the end of the year, it was not going to be good. So I knew it was coming. Like.
I'm trying not to blow out the mic. Yes. I want to laugh so loud. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's see.
I feel you on the knowing and wishing you didn't, but at this point, what is there to hide, right? So yeah. So
we both know it's just gonna be the two of us forever. We can either do it or don't.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So
you booked it before the proposal.
Fine. Yeah, and we went to go visit actually too. Okay. About a week after we got engaged. Aww. And just fell in love with it.
So you hadn't seen it in person before you booked it?
No. I think it was more like a loose book. And then afterwards, like, let's do it.
Let's put the down payment. Right. Let's seal the deal. Okay, cool. And I know you mentioned a little bit about your planner earlier, but tell me about your list of vendors. Tell me about the process leading up to that wedding. What did it look like?
Oh, man. It was a lot of myself. And I did have a planner, and man, I adore this woman. so much because that day of, I didn't think about a thing. She was like, I'm gonna like push you around. And not really push, but she was like, I'm gonna make sure you're here. I'm gonna make sure this gets started.
Lift you around.
Right, yeah. And kind of, in the irony is that a lot of people are like, you look like a princess in a castle. I'm like, well, that's really sweet. But here is my fairy godmother, quite literally. Her name is Monica Garcia, and that's kind of what she calls herself, the fairy godmother, her wedding fairy godmother. But we met years and years ago during Fiesta in San Antonio, and I was Miss San Antonio, and she was a Fiesta queen.
Okay.
It was called La Reina de la Feria de las Flores through LULAC. Anyways, it's a bunch of girls. We got to hang out together for about 2 or 3 weeks parading around San Antonio, and you get close. Yeah. Right. And so I honestly hadn't seen her in about 10 years, but we picked right back up where we left off, and man, that girl works.
Yeah, she does.
And I was like, wait, what do I need to consider too? Y'all, let me just tell you, if you were on the edge or on the fence of investing in one, from my own experience, I thought, why didn't I do this earlier? A lot of details I had no idea to even ask, and things to be concerned about, but put into account. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So she saved the day. Wow. Some things could have fallen through the cracks and they did not, and she saved the day. So vendors, let's see, I guess the next big thing that I learned from one of my other dear friends, Megan Cody, who's also a wedding planner in North Texas. We've been friends my entire life. She was like, Alana, you got to work on a florist. Yeah. And then I learned how kind of pricey florists are. Yeah. And my husband and I did not want help from our parents. And so we're like, we started saving about a year prior to engagement too, just to kind of plan for it.
Good for y'all.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, and I told him, I was like, let's just start small. Let's, every paycheck, let's put $100 into one. I call envelopes. If anybody does day brand, right? Like, hey, let's do $100 each into
one of those baby steps, right?
Exactly, into our little envelope, and it really helped tremendously. So I found a florist in New Braunfels with very reasonable prices. Some others, I was like, I just can't afford them. I can't do it. And I don't know if people are going to remember my wedding because I had real or fake flowers, or if I had greenery or flowers, or this or that. And and I'm not that girly. I don't really care that much. But it's Blumenmeisters. I believe I'm saying it correctly. In New Braunfels, really, really easy to work with, and really reasonable prices. And I like that they were local, too. But whoever my vendors were, no matter what part of my wedding, they had to drive to Burnet, Texas. So, of course, I went to Pinterest, and one thing all my vendors asked for is like, do you have a Pinterest board? From cakes to linens to flowers to, even the DJ was like, you have a Pinterest board? I was like, oh, okay. But I enjoyed that because, yes, I could show them, I quickly made a Pinterest board so they could get an idea of what I was going for, so that they can help execute that.
Yeah, I'll be on the same page. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, so it's terracotta, golds, some blushes, a blush pink, and Mom's like, oh, I had that in my wedding too. I'm like, that's good, Mom. So it's kind of like a reminiscent of your wedding also, but just very light, kind of cliche fall colors. But keep in mind that I had to, what I thought, decorate this massive stone castle. And so what my goal was when it came to flowers wasn't, let's fill it with roses and all these beautiful, just big, bold flowers. I just wanted to soften it up. So my goal was more greenery with, and especially with October, we had a lot of marigolds.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of and you guys, brides out there, if by chance you're getting married, Central Texas, around the fall area, there's a great place to get your flowers. Up 281, in between Austin and San Antonio. Well, a little bit. 281 is, runs parallel with I-35. It's called Arnosky Farms.
Okay.
They provide HEB and Central Market with all of their fresh flowers. Oh, wow. All of those flowers come from Arnosky, and I'm probably saying that wrong. Farms.
We'll put it right here.
Yeah. Boom. There it is. Yes. It's, they're wholesale flowers. Okay. So 2 days before the wedding, we went and bought like 3 buckets of marigolds.
Wow.
Got way too many for a really great price. And that's what our florist added into the greenery that they put everywhere. So it was just
beautiful.
Really nice. A little untraditional. But.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see marigolds all the time in weddings. I think that's beautiful. And picking them yourselves, or like getting them yourselves, and, being a part of that process that's awesome. Yeah.
No, girl, don't get me wrong. I did hand it. I was like, here you go. You can do it. I gotta get ready. But just, kind of contributing in that way. Being able to also hire a lot of friends. So being in my business, I know a lot of folks, photographers, videographers, even, Monica, my wedding planner, a lot of these people. I think there might have been 2 vendors that I had to vet online and go through all the reviews, make some phone calls. But other than that, it was a lot of friends, and so that was nice to have them a part of my big day too. So I kind of feel bad. I'm like, hey, sorry, I really want you to be here, but I need you to work it.
Right.
I need you to work it.
You're so good at what you do, I can't help it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the goal that we had was to make sure it was an experience for everybody else. And I think that was accomplished because our family got to stay in the castle for the weekend too. So I got dressed there up on the 2nd and 3rd floor. That's where the residential area is. We got dressed there. We had a Friday kind of welcome party for everybody's coming in from out of town, friends from Austin, San Antonio, Dallas. Right. Come and have a meal, and had another friend cater. So I think that's what was special to me, just kind of have, instead of, and all of these other vendors are fantastic, don't get me wrong, but just kind of having that connection with everyone, that was nice.
Is there any piece of advice you want to leave with our listeners today? Maybe about just being in a relationship, about planning a wedding, whatever.
Planning the wedding, I think I overthought a lot.
Okay.
Because I think I had this idea in my head, like, it's got to be this way. And it needs to be done exactly this way. And somebody, probably Monica, was like, hey, those little details, you're not, that night, not even gonna realize. You're not even gonna notice it's there. I mean, from like the glow sticks, to send us out with, I was like, we have to have it, has to have our name on it. Like, no. And people noticed. They noticed our name on it. I didn't even notice.
Right.
It's such a magical day, that as long as you look around and your family, they're going to be smiling. Your friends are going to have a good time. The people who you love the most and love you the most are going to be there. And they're just happy. I mean, it could be done in a barn, in the backyard, in a castle. It could be done down, at the courthouse. Right. That's what matters. And so I got lost in that a few times, and I had to kind of remind myself and ground myself. Like, hold on.
I'm taking it in right now.
Yeah, this isn't about this day. This is about what it's like moving forward.
Yeah.
And I've been told, hopefully it's a joke, by a lot of my friends who've been married for some time. They're like, oh yeah, the first year is the hardest year of marriage. Oy. Right. Yeah. And I just told Jonathan a few nights ago, I was like, honey, if this is how it's going to be for the rest of the year, like, this is great.
We're going up from here, baby.
This is fantastic. This isn't hard at all. This isn't difficult at all.
Does it feel different than...
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think it's slowly kind of going away a little bit, but like saying husband and him saying wife, and I think it kind of just like reignites that spark. Again, there are some things I'm like, oh, okay, I got to compromise on this because you're my husband, right? I don't really want to do this. I really don't want to be washing the dishes right now, but what you're supposed to do as a nice wife.
I love you.
But I love you. Yeah. Little things, but the same way you compromise and sacrifice, he should be, you guys. He should be. Y'all will, because you want to do that for each other. But and I feel like I do want to give one more thing about the wedding planning.
Sure.
Get a planner. That's it. Get a planner. Yeah, especially even if it's the week of,
right,
or even the day of.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to be worried about is, and I've read this many times, like, I forgot to cut the cake because time.
There was no one looking at the schedule.
Right. And I was like, oh, you don't want to miss something special like that, especially if you spend all this money.
Even knowing how to cut the cake, like just witnessed that for the first time in December. I'm like, oh, there's a special way of cutting wedding cake just to like make it quick. And the planner helped me learn that. Oh. I was like, oh.
Didn't
you go
know
like,
that.
And then, anyway.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't have to learn that.
You don't cut them like, normal cake slices.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it weren't for this planner, and I think she was just a JF coordinator, but it makes a difference. It really does to have them. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Alana, for coming
sorry,
in.
I unloaded.
Oh, I love it. This is exactly what this space is for. Okay. And before you go, Alana, I have a couple of gifts for you from some vendors that we work with. We have a jewelry cleaning kit from Nicole Mara.
Oh, wonderful.
A little package with some premarital and also postmarital advice from a relationship counselor we work with.
Oh, nice.
Her name is Modern Wellness Counseling. That's Priscilla Rodriguez.
Okay.
And then these are some little coffee pods from Boom City Coffee. So we just wanted to show you some gratitude and say thanks for coming in today. And I hope you enjoy these, right?
This is amazing. You guys, I mean, wow, I'd be great with coffee. This is a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Just remember, Bridal Babes, the buzz doesn't have to stop here. You can find us anywhere online. And of course, there's new episodes every Monday. Again, shout out to today's sponsor, 18th Amendment Mobile Bar Service. You can find out more about them on sanantonioweddings.com. Alana, just wave at this camera with me and say bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much.